believe the township has changed significantly, and we've contributed to it significantly in the dollars and the grants that we've invested in this community.
By the end of next week, we'll have created over 800 dwellings. When I go and talk to the tenants that live in those dwellings, I have absolutely no doubt that their lives have been transformed. So many people in the private rented market in Australia today, with rents going up the way, they feel very insecure. And if you feel insecure, all sorts of horrible things start to happen. The sad thing is that's only 800 dwellings. We're having an impact, but it's not a big enough impact. And I'd love us to increase our output, but at the moment it's not clear how we can do that.
We've got about 20 people employed, so that's our employment impact. We've got more than 30 people enrolled in training through the studios. We have, probably 40 to 50 people that are engaged with the studio, so that community engagement and participation happening.
By now, probably 30 or 40 kids who had after-school jobs here. There's a good turnover as they go through the system and move on to higher studies and so forth.
Savings for the environment in terms of the amount of energy that's consumed to produce new things and the amount of carbon that's emitted, the amount of water that's used. So I think, and I'd love to know exactly how much, but I think we've, over the course of our history, would have saved the environment fairly large amounts of resources and energy and pollution by doing that.
It's very clear that we are contributing to the environment because we're encouraging people through discounted loans to get low fuel emission vehicles, to buy energy efficient goods, put solar power in, and also buy energy efficient homes. And we try to reward them with lower interest rates on that. So how we bench that is what percentage of our annual loans go into our green/environmental style products. And we're always around that 65 to 70%.
Yeah, I think that we have a huge impact on the kids that we go and talk to every day about just, kind of expanding their horizons in terms of what's possible, bringing in these materials that, they would never have seen before and to tell them that it would have been a waste product. So just making people think twice about the kinds of things that are going to landfill.
Some of the things I wasn't anticipating was, environmental impact in that we're saving enormous quantities of fabric and clothing from landfill and transforming that into new garments. And encouraging the fashion industry locally to think more about ethical clothing production and sustainable fashion.
Our capacity to initiate programs that get adopted out in the world. And we're noticing an increase in inquiries from people who want to replicate our centre.
There is consciousness that there is an organisation in town which is more than the service station. It's the board of directors, I guess you would call it, who are concerned citizens and willing to speak up for the town or to act on behalf of the town, and have done in the past. And so how you quantify that or qualify that?
It would be good to be able to track the impact that we have on the kids through the workshops.
Yeah.
Like whether they just think it's a great art project or whether
it affects their behaviour in some way.
I guess you've got sales records, we've got I know how many people visit our website every day, and I've got over 1,000 people on our mailing list, and that just, climbs every day, and I guess stuff that you sell. Yeah, but apart from that, not massively. Apart from just the relationships that I have with the women and what I've noticed over the last 3 years.
We've done various surveys about what tenants think. We haven't really systematically evaluated what the public think of us. We've done questionnaires about our projects in particular areas.
The Eco Living project that was to renovate this building and to provide some training, behaviour change and training workshops for adults. The evaluation process there and the success of those programs is pre and post surveys, and commitments from people to make changes in their own life and following up to see how they went with that. That's such a small slice of 450,000 visitors a year, that's, 50 people. But that's one methodology.
We did a community survey a while back. It's sort of loosely based around the kind of retail surveys, and it was very much business focused rather than the organisation is a community organisation, more about the business itself. I'm not sure we learnt a lot that we didn't already know, but it did give us, I guess, gave us a few directions to work. Yeah. As I said, I'd be interested in knowing more about how we could go about quantifying the impact that has had in the town. Yeah. And across a range of areas. I mean, because it certainly isn't just business or economic, it's certainly social as well.
When we're involved in a major project, we benchmark it and we do track it. So we set a budget, what outcomes that we want to achieve, and if we haven't achieved that, then we've got to go and revise as to how we can change that.
So we've engaged an independent contractor to do the evaluation, so someone who does have a bit more perspective than say me or the teaching staff here. And she's conducting interviews with about, I think, 15 to 20 of our apprentices and trainees.
In terms of like how many, there's definitely more people coming in. We do, because we have a database. We're getting better at it. We haven't always been good at it.
I find it really difficult when I see numbers placed on social value, I guess. So equating people to dollars, that does my head and I don't really.
A number of it's having the right resources or to measure that impact. We'd probably need the assistance of a local university researcher to help us on that impact, or a supplier. It's very hard to measure what you do for the environment.
Time, probably. Unless it's kind of important and urgent or whatever, it kind of goes by the wayside.
Obviously, we're here to encourage behaviour change, and behaviour change is incredibly hard to, environmental behaviour change and social, it's incredibly hard to measure because there are so many variables.
How do you actually quantify what sort of carbon emissions we're saving? So there's just not that information out there, or not that's readily accessible anyway.
We're very action orientated, and if we can't see a concrete benefit to doing something, we don't do it. So we're not having our legitimacy challenged in a way that makes me feel we have to generate information to say this is why we exist. People can see why we exist, and we just need to get on with it.
I don't think we track very well. That's something that we're working on. I think we have data from our government-funded programs because you need to collect data and report. So it's probably from all of that data, that we have got. We're really good at this. The outcomes are here. This is obvious. The feedback from our stakeholders, from our participants, that all goes in together. We need to be better and smarter at tracking. Yeah. We probably do it on an ad hoc basis, but to be more conscious.
And also, I should also say that we absolutely are not resourced to do proper evaluations of our work. It's social research is something that we don't. We're busy running businesses and maintaining 10 acres of land. It's hard to do the research as well.
And knowing how to measure your impact, how do you measure your impact for something like Biddy Bags? I don't know how that's measurable.
It's a complex area and it needs to be understood and evaluated and measured in a more complex way as well. And I think that's what sets social enterprise apart from commercial enterprise.